Hey guys, welcome to Lunar Persuasion Astrology. In today's video, we're looking at the upcoming Venus retrograde period from March 1st to April 12th, 2025 in the sidereal sign of Pisces. So this 43-day cycle is giving themes of reflection, reconsideration, reevaluation of our love, our values, relationships, beauty. But is Venus retrograde really all that different from any other time? So, superstition may have you believe that you must avoid starting new relationships or making big purchases. But in Vedic astrology, a retrograde planet is simply more passive than it is active. So, the usual benefic qualities of Venus are lessened, but they're not necessarily worse off. Matters of love, beauty, pleasure might feel confusing or require a second look. Venus retrogrades often bring old relationships back into focus, but not necessarily for rekindling, but more for closure and healing purposes. So you may feel the need to revisit a past relationship, rethink your values, or even reevaluate a financial decision. This is because Venus rules your sense of harmony, values, relationships, and material comforts. So later in the video, we'll look at where this energy takes place for you based on your natal chart. But let's take a look at Venus retrograde in history. So, historically, there have been times when people experienced major shifts in their relationships or financial standings during Venus retrograde. The example I have for you today is when Venus was retrograde in 2017. Kylie Jenner ended her on again, off again relationship with Tyga. So Venus was retrograding in her fourth house, prompting her to reflect on emotional security and personal foundations. And since Venus also rules her sixth house of daily work and 11th house of financial gains, she also experienced a decline in sales and reevaluated her business strategies for her beauty brand, Kylie Cosmetics. This shows how Venus retrograde not only impacts relationships, but also influences finances and social networks as well. But as they say, correlation does not imply causation, and this can also be true for astrology. Instead, astrologers look for a confluence of indicators that would suggest an outcome. Most importantly, when trying to predict the impact of a Venus retrograde in your life, you will want to look at three main factors. And only through this awareness and knowledge that's brought to you by the wisdom of Vedic astrology, you can gain insight into how this Venus retrograde period will be for you. So, first, you want to look at the house Venus is retrograding in. So, Venus is in Pisces right now. So, wherever Pisces is in your chart will be the house that will be in focus. Secondly, you want to pay attention to the houses that Venus rules in your chart. Venus rules two signs, it rules Taurus and Libra. And thirdly, take time to reflect on what truly brings you harmony, beauty in your life, what you really value. You just might find that the past holds valuable lessons to guide your future choices. So, before I get into the Venus retrograde for each ascendant and where it takes place for you in your house, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. And if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Aries ascendant, this retrograde is in your 12th house. Reflection on hidden desires, subconscious patterns, and past relationships are in focus at this time. You want to avoid impulsive, expensive, and secret liaisons. Venus rules your second and seventh house, so reevaluating your financial decisions and relationship commitments can fall into this period. Misunderstandings with partners may also arise, so reflect on your values and your emotional security. Seek closure from past relationships rather than trying to rekindle them. Taurus ascendant, this retrograde is in your 11th house. You're going to want to reconsider your social circles, friendships, and any long term goals you may have. Old friends or past lovers may resurface at this time. Venus rules your first and sixth house. So, reevaluating your self image, your daily routines, that those could be themes during this time. Also, health and work life balance may need a reassessment. You're going to want to avoid making any major changes to your appearance. Reconnect with old friends, but you want to maintain healthy boundaries. Gemini ascendant, this retrograde is in your 10th house. So, career dynamics, your public image are all up for reconsideration at this time. Past professional contacts may reappear. And for you, Venus rules your 12th and 5th house. So, reflecting on hidden talents and your creative projects, romantic relationships may require introspection. And you want to avoid starting any new career ventures at this time and reflect on your creative passions and your emotional connections. Cancer ascendant, this retrograde is in your 9th house. So, this is a time to reevaluate your beliefs, your spiritual practices, and any long distance connections that you have. Travel delays are also likely. And Venus for you rules your 11th and 4th house. So, reflect on your friendships, your emotional security, and there's a chance that past social connections may reappear. Avoid impulsive travel decisions at this time and reassess any long-term goals and your emotional foundations. Leo ascendant, this retrograde is taking place in your 8th house. So there's a reflection on your shared resources, your debts, and deep emotional bonds and attachments. Secrets may be revealed at this time. And Venus rules your 10th and 3rd house. So you may want to reconsider your career choices and your communication styles. There's sibling dynamics that may require attention at this time. You would want to avoid any risky financial investments and use this time for emotional healing and deeper self awareness. Virgo ascendant, this retrograde is in your 7th house. So, relationships, partnerships, and commitments are all up for reconsideration at this time. Old relationship patterns may resurface. And for you, Venus rules your 9th and 2nd house. So, reflecting on your beliefs about love and financial security, family values may be reevaluated at this time. Avoid making major commitments and reassess your relationship values and your personal beliefs. Libra ascendant, this retrograde is in your 6th house. So, this is a time for reevaluating health routines, work relationships, your daily habits. You may want to avoid workplace conflicts at this time. And for you, Venus rules your 8th and 1st house. So, this is a time to reflect on your emotional boundaries and your self image. Past emotional wounds may resurface at this time. So, avoid overworking and really focus on self care and that emotional healing aspect. Scorpio ascendant retrograde is in your 5th house. So, reconsider your creative pursuits, your romantic interest, and matters related to children, if you have any. Venus rules your 7th and 12th house, so reflect on any relationship commitments or hidden desires that you have and try to avoid any escapist tendencies. You also want to avoid any impulsive romantic decisions. Reconnecting with old hobbies or creative projects is really good at this time. Sagittarius ascendant, this retrograde is in your 4th house. So you want to reflect on your emotional security, your home, your relationship with your mother and family matters. And past family issues may resurface at this time, specifically with the mother. Now, for you, Venus rules your 6th and 11th house. So this is a time for reevaluating any work dynamics and your social connections. Long term goals may also require an adjustment. And avoid any major real estate decisions. Focus on emotional healing and family bonding. Capricorn ascendant, this retrograde is in your 3rd house, so miscommunications are very likely. Reflect on your communication style and any dynamics you have with your siblings if you have siblings. Venus rules your 5th and 10th house. So, this is a time to reevaluate your creative pursuits and your career choices. Romantic interests may also need to be reflected upon, and it's a good time to avoid any impulsive communication. reconsider creative passions and professional goals. Aquarius ascendant, this retrograde is in your second house. So, this is the time for reflecting on your financial securities, your values, and your self worth. Family dynamics may also need attention at this time. Venus rules your fourth and ninth house. So, reevaluating your emotional foundations, your relationship with your mother, and your belief systems. Also, long distance connections may resurface. Avoid any major financial decisions and reflect on your emotional security and those familiar values. Pisces ascendant, this retrograde is in your first house. So, this is a time to reflect on your self image, your personal values, and your identity. Venus for you rules your third and eighth house. So, this is a time to reconsider your communication style and your emotional boundaries and attachments. Past traumas could resurface at this time, so avoid making any impulsive decisions and really focus on that self awareness and your emotional personal healing.